You were not born in a corner office with a skyline view. You were born in a rusted-out trailer in Gary, Indiana, 1987. Your mother worked 2 shifts at a meatpacking plant and still couldn't keep the lights on. Your father left before you could walk. Your first toy was a disconnected telephone. You talked into it every night, pretending someone on the other end cared. Nobody did. By age 10, you learned the most important lesson of your life. Money is not paper. Money is power. And power is the only language this world respects. You dropped out of high school at 16. Not because you were stupid, because you were hungry. Literally hungry. You couldn't focus on algebra when your stomach was eating itself. You worked at a car wash, a gas station, a warehouse where the forklift drivers were tweaking on meth half the time. You saved every dollar like it was a drop of blood. You slept on a mattress on the floor of a studio apartment that smelled like mildew and regret. One day, a guy at the warehouse handed you a business card. It said Apex Recovery Solutions. He told you they were hiring collectors. No degree required. Just a phone, a script, and the ability to not give a damn when someone cries. You called the next morning. First day, they sat you in a room with 40 other desperate people. Fluorescent lights buzzing like dying insects. A trainer walked in wearing a cheap suit and a gold watch that was definitely fake. He said one thing that changed your life forever. He said the person on the other end of that phone owes money. They made a promise. They broke it. You are not the villain. You are the consequence. That phrase rewired your brain. You were not begging. You were collecting what was owed. There is a difference. They gave you a headset and a list of names. Your first call was a single mother in Ohio who owed $1,100 on a medical bill. She cried. She begged. She said her kid was sick. You stuck to the script. You felt nothing. Not because you were heartless, because you had been her. You knew what broke felt like. And you knew that sympathy does not pay rent. Within 6 months, you were the top collector in the office. You had a gift. Your voice was calm, controlled, almost soothing, like a doctor delivering a terminal diagnosis. You never yelled. You never threatened. You just made people understand that the debt was not going away. That ignoring it was like ignoring a tumor. It only grows. Your manager noticed. He pulled you aside and said there is a different division, high net worth recovery. The targets are not single mothers. They are millionaires, billionaires, people who owe 6 figures, 7 figures, sometimes 8. They do not cry on the phone. They hire lawyers. They hide assets in shell companies in the Cayman Islands. They buy yachts under their girlfriend's cousin's dog walkers LLC. You want in? You said yes before he finished the sentence. Welcome to the world of elite debt collection. Forget everything you know. These people do not owe money because they are broke. They owe money because they believe the rules do not apply to them. A hedge fund manager borrows $40 million from a private lender to fund a real estate deal. The deal collapses. He still has 3 homes, a jet, and a wine collection worth more than your entire neighborhood. But he will not pay. He will restructure. He will negotiate. He will delay. He will file motions until the original lender dies of old age. Your job is to make sure that does not happen. Your job is to be the thing he cannot restructure, negotiate, or delay. You are the human version of compound interest. You never stop. Your first high-value target was a tech founder in San Francisco. He raised $200 million in venture capital, burned through it in 18 months on private chefs, first-class flights, and a company retreat in Bali that cost more than a hospital. His startup failed. He owed investors $63 million. He told his lawyers he was judgment-proof. No assets in his name. Everything owned by trusts and offshore entities. He thought he was untouchable. You flew to San Francisco on your own dime. You did not call him. You showed up at a charity gala where he was giving a speech about entrepreneurial resilience. You sat in the back row. After the speech, you walked up, shook his hand, and said congratulations on the talk. Then you handed him an envelope. Inside was a detailed breakdown of every asset he thought was hidden. The Bermuda Trust, the Delaware LLC, the apartment in his ex-wife's maiden name, the Bitcoin wallet he thought was anonymous. His face went white. Not angry, terrified. You smiled and said, "We should have coffee sometime." He paid $41 million within 90 days. That is the game. You do not chase these people. You haunt them. You become the shadow in their peripheral vision. The name that shows up on their phone at dinner parties. The folder on their lawyer's desk that keeps getting thicker. You learn everything: their divorces, their lawsuits, their tax filings, their social media posts where they flex a new Patek Philippe while claiming they cannot afford to pay. You screenshot everything. You build a file so detailed it reads like a biography written by someone who hates them. And then you wait. Because rich people have one weakness that poor people do not: reputation. A broke person has nothing to lose. A billionaire has everything to lose. One press leak, one well-placed phone call to a business partner, one public filing that shows up on Google when someone searches their name. That is your leverage. Not violence, not threats, information. The most dangerous weapon in the modern world is a PDF. You learn the art of skip tracing, finding people who do not want to be found. A real estate developer in Miami owed $14 million to a group of international investors. He sold his mansion, moved his family to Costa Rica, and deleted his social media. He thought he disappeared. You found him in 11 days. How? His daughter posted a photo of a sunset from their new house. She tagged the restaurant where they ate that night. You cross-referenced the geolocation data with local property records. You found the house. You found it was registered under a Costa Rican corporation. You found the corporation was linked to his brother-in-law's passport number. You sent him a letter to his new address. It was hand-delivered. He came back to Miami within a month and started making payments. People think hiding is easy. It is not. Everyone leaves a trail. Credit cards, loyalty programs, flight manifests, gym memberships, Amazon deliveries. You cannot live in the modern world and be invisible. Even ghosts have Wi-Fi. The psychology of rich debtors is fascinating. Poor people who owe money feel shame. Rich people who owe money feel entitled. They genuinely believe that paying debts is optional, that it is a negotiation, not an obligation. They will look you in the eye over a $300 lunch and explain why they cannot pay back $5 million. They will tell you the market turned. They will tell you the deal went south. They will tell you their partner screwed them. What they will never tell you is that they just bought a new Porsche. Your job is to know about the Porsche before they tell you about the hardship. Your job is to sit across from them with a smile and a folder and say, "I understand times are tough, but I noticed you took delivery of a 911 Turbo S last Tuesday. Ceramic brakes, nice spec. So let us talk about a payment plan." You have seen things that would make a forensic accountant cry. A Hollywood producer who hid $12 million in artwork inside a storage unit registered to his dead mother. A professional athlete who transferred his entire fortune to his baby mama's nail salon business the day before a judgment was entered. A pharmaceutical executive who created 17 shell companies across 4 continents to hide the proceeds from a licensing deal he swore under oath did not exist. You found all of it. Every hidden dollar leaves a heat signature: wire transfers, property records, corporate filings, customs declarations. The rich think they are smart. They are not. They are just surrounded by people who tell them they are smart. Their accountants lie. Their lawyers delay. Their financial advisors build sandcastles. And then you show up with the tide. The threats come with the territory. A construction magnate in New Jersey sent 2 guys to your office. They did not have a meeting scheduled. They just stood in the lobby, arms crossed, staring at the receptionist. You walked out, offered them coffee, and told them to sit down. Then you called their boss on speakerphone and said, "I appreciate the visit, but if anything happens to me, the file goes to the FBI, the IRS, and the Wall Street Journal simultaneously. It is automated. I do not even need to press send." Silence. Then a voice on the phone said, "How much do I owe?" You told him the number. He wired it that afternoon. You do not carry a gun. You carry a hard drive. And the hard drive is scarier. There are rules in this world that nobody teaches you. Rule 1, never get emotional. The moment you hate the debtor, you lose your edge. They are not evil. They are just playing a different game with different rules. Your job is to change the rules. Rule 2, always give them an exit. Nobody pays when they feel cornered. You offer a path, a payment plan, a settlement, a way to save face. Because the goal is not destruction. The goal is recovery. Rule 3, document everything. Every call, every email, every text, every handshake. Because when it goes to court, and it always goes to court, the side with better records wins. Rule 4, know the law better than their lawyers. The Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, state statutes, international treaties. You are not a thug. You are a legal weapon with a necktie.
Your biggest case.
A sovereign wealth fund invested $300 million with a private equity firm run by a man who looked like a catalog model and talked like a TED speaker. The fund collapsed. The money vanished. Not stolen, technically, just misallocated into deals that enriched the partners and evaporated for the investors. The lead partner moved to Geneva. He bought a chalet, enrolled his kids in an international school, and started a consulting firm. He thought Switzerland would protect him. You spent 8 months building the case. You hired forensic accountants in London, investigators in Dubai, and a very expensive Swiss attorney who knew every loophole in the banking secrecy laws. You found the money. It was spread across 9 accounts in 4 countries. You filed simultaneous freezing orders in 3 jurisdictions on the same morning. By the time he woke up, his assets were locked. He could not buy groceries without a court order. He negotiated within a week. You recovered $220 million. Your fee was 7%. Do the math. That is the day you stopped eating ramen. The lifestyle changes you. You wear suits that cost more than your first car. You fly business class to cities you used to see only in movies. You eat at restaurants where the menu has no prices because if you have to ask, you should not be there. But you never forget where you came from. You keep the old mattress photo on your phone, not for motivation, for calibration. Because the moment you start living like the people you collect from, you become them. And then someone like you shows up at your door. The irony would be poetic. You prefer to avoid poetry. You have watched people crumble, grown men sobbing in conference rooms, wives screaming into phones, lawyers begging for one more extension. It does not make you happy. It does not make you sad. It makes you precise. Because emotion is noise, and you deal in signal. The signal says they have money. The signal says they are hiding it. The signal says the settlement window closes in 72 hours. Everything else is theater, and you have seen enough theater to fill Broadway. You are not a good person. You are not a bad person. You are an efficient person. The world runs on debt. Someone has to collect it. That someone is you. The tools of the trade have evolved. In the old days, it was leg breakers and baseball bats. Now, it is algorithms and data mining. You use software that scans public records across 50 states in real time. You subscribe to databases that track private jet flights, yacht registrations, and luxury car purchases. You have contacts at banks who will never admit they talk to you. You have sources at law firms who feed you information in exchange for favors you will collect later. Your Rolodex is not a Rolodex. It is a weapon system, and every name in it is both an asset and a liability. Late at night, you sit in your office. The city lights below look like a circuit board. You pour a whiskey and stare at the files on your desk. Each one is a story, a promise broken, a fortune hidden, a life built on borrowed money and borrowed time. You are the clock. You are the thing that reminds them that time is not free, that every dollar borrowed is a dollar owed, that the universe keeps a ledger even when the accountant does not. Tomorrow morning you will pick up the phone. You will dial a number. On the other end will be someone who thought they got away with it. Someone who thought money could buy silence. Someone who has never met anyone like you. And when they hear your voice, calm and steady and absolutely certain, they will know. The bill has come due, and you are the one delivering it. Your stats after 15 years in the game. Total debt recovered, $1.4 billion. Cases closed, 312. Countries worked across, 27. Threats received, 41. Lawsuits filed against you, 19. Lawsuits you lost, 0. Hours of sleep per night, 4. Marriages, 2. Both failed. Children, 1. Who you see every other weekend. Net worth, enough to retire. But you will not retire, because retirement is for people who want to stop, and you have never wanted to stop. You were built for this, not by choice, by necessity. The kid in the trailer with the disconnected phone grew up to be the voice on the other end that billionaires fear. And that is the most American story ever told. You are sitting at your desk right now, stressing about a credit card payment. Imagine if the person calling you was not some random agent in a call center. Imagine it was someone who knows your browser history, your net worth, and what you had for breakfast. That is the world the rich live in. That is the world you now control. Sleep well. Someone out there owes money, and you always collect.